That's just too big to keep. Look at that. Hold that up here. Holy moly. I don't know if I've caught, if that's over 10, that's bigger than any ones I've caught.
That's a huge one.
Wow. Back out on fish-itis. He's still here. Day 3 of our trip. Northern Michigan fishing. We're in another lake. We're gonna slow it down and just try some slip bobbers and try for some walleyes and bass and bluegills and whatever bites today. We got a lot of wind today. We're in a spot that's a point that comes out, big rock piles up on top of it, some weeds. We're sitting on the edge. It's shallow water. We're sitting in about 7-8 feet of water. We're gonna throw up into 3-4 feet of water. I'm hoping that they're up here feeding right now. Let's give it a shot. Might not be a gill here. Well, it's a gill. It's going sideways. Big old gill. Holy moly. Oh. Man. I love the way these gills fight though. Look at this gill. Oh, jeez. What the heck is going on here? Bluegills. In every cast. Look at that. Put my hand around that thing. I get excited over these giant gills like that. That out there. Oh. He had that under forever. Oh. Oh, that might be a giant gill there. Bigger than the others. Oh. They all feel huge. Whoa. Oh! Look at that gill. Holy moly.
How long's that one been around, you think?
Oh, I don't know. But... Oh, God. Look at that gill. Giant. Big gills. We started the day trying for walleyes and bass and shallow. We said, well, let's go out and try and find them in the deep water. Well, we came upon a huge school of big gills in the middle of the lake. They're suspended out here, probably 13, I think it's about 13, 14 feet maybe, yeah. Maybe not quite that deep, between 11 and 14 feet. And we think that they're feeding on some larva or something. I don't know yet, we'll check it later when we fillet them. You got another one. They're just cast after cast, we're getting them. And primarily we're using these Gulp Alive. They're the Gulp Alive, right? Mm-hmm. Gulp Alive minnows, 2-inch. I got mine on a small chartreuse jig head. He's using just a bare hook. We're catching huge gills and big rock bass. They're loaded out here.
It's like getting sheephead, you get a sore arm.
What do you got there? Oh, it's a big, look at the size of that gill. Holy heck. That's the biggest one of the day.
That's 2 gills.
That is huge. Look at the size of that bluegill. Oh my God. Oh, we might, you know what, let's measure that one when you're done and we might throw that one back in. That's just too big to keep. Look at that, hold that up here. Holy moly, I don't know if I've caught, if that's over 10, that's bigger than any ones I've caught.
That's a huge one.
Wow, let's get that on the measurement here. 10.5 inches. That's a big bluegill right there. Wow. toss him back in.
Put him back in?
I think so. What do you think? No, dude, come on. It's gonna flop off of there.
I'm gonna put him in.
All right. Side gill.
That's a breeding gill.
I gave you my rod to get a picture of the bobber going under. This isn't even fishing here. This is one of those days where you just hit them and it's like you just catch fish after fish. Huh? Oh my gosh, look at this one.
Whoa.
Oh, we got another giant gill.
What was mine?
10 and a half.
11 and what was it?
10 and a half.
10 and a half.
Which is hard to get bluegill over 10 inches.
That would be about
A little under that. I think
10.
10. I mean, this is crazy, these gills. That is a giant gill. There it is. Gulp. Gulp feet. Yeah. Oh, he's 10 and a half. Got you matched. 10 and a half. We're throwing these really big ones back in. This is too much fun to stop. Look at that big rock bass. Holy moly. Turn him sideways so you can see him. Man. Alright, just to give you a little demonstration of what we were doing to catch these giant gills. I've got a basic 6'6" medium action rod with a spinning reel. This is the Spyrex that Shimano makes. And we're using slip floats, the fills. And I've got 8-pound monofilament line. And then I've got about a 2-foot fluorocarbon leader off of that. And what I do is I put a couple split shots off the main line, the monofilament line, and then a 2-way swivel. You can also put a slip sinker on here, that works well also. And then I've got the leader, and I've got a 32nd ounce chartreuse jig head. I like chartreuse. And what we were doing is we're using the Berkeley Gulp power minnows. And this happens to be a 3-inch. We were using 2.5 inch on that trip. And just hooking it right through the head and pulling the hook out like that, and it really moves around underneath the float. And these gills were on. We happened to find them out in open water, suspended, and they were just lines coming up on the fish finder, on the Humminbird. And you can see them, they're feeding off of, I think, some kind of emerging insects, larvae or something, and they were just really turned on in about I'd say 2 hours of just constant catching. So that's what we were doing. Really appreciate you watching this episode of Fish-itis, and we'll see you next time.